Thank you, Mr. MC. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I'm coming in after lunch, but then what better topic to talk about than money? Now, this panel, we're going to be speaking about financing and enhancing capital returns on the health and wellness tourism product. This is such an important topic that we have 4 members of the panel. And we're going to be hearing from the money people, and we are going to be talking about the amount of money that we can earn. Now, just before I introduce my panelists, I want to tell you a little about the Global Span Wellness Summit. They estimate the size of the health and wellness market to be US $438.6 billion within the wider 3.2 trillion tourism market. I don't even know if I can write that figure, but that's what they say. And this panel discussion will explore the different routes to financing and supporting our vast health and wellness tourism product by bringing together, right here today, key financial partners. So today, we're not going to be looking at the financing of the products, but also to ensure that there's capital returns by guiding stakeholders, you, and other persons regarding the practices, the investment opportunities, as well as the risk related to the Jamaica Health and Wellness tourism product. And there's lots more to say, but of course, you will hear all of that from the wonderful panelists that I have lined up. So, I start with Mr. Edison Galbraith. And Mr. Galbraith, he is, happy Men's Day, Mr. Galbraith. And he's our lone male on the panelist. And he's from the Development Bank of Jamaica. He has over 20 years of experience in the investment and development banking industry. Since 2011, he has served as general manager. His responsibilities include managing DBJ's relationship with financial institutions, development partners with the business sector, and deploying DBJ's portfolio to unlock strategic sectors. In this regard, Edison has led the bank's successful MSC, BPO, and energy financing initiatives, as well as partial credit guarantee program. He holds diverse qualifications, including a BA in History, Economics from the University of the West Indies, and an MBA in Finance from Manchester Business School, UK. He's also a certified energy manager and an energy risk professional. He has served and continues to serve on various boards and committees geared towards achieving energy transition, financial access, climate action, and food security. So he's from the DBJ, and what DBJ does is to provide funding and technical assistance to large projects. So health and wellness clearly will not scare them. It has expanded and improved its assistance to micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, which are widely recognized as the engine of growth. So here's our first panelist, Mr. Edison Galbraith. Another member of our panelists is Ms. Gillian Hyde. And Mrs. Hyde, of course, is no stranger to the tourism family, and she's a general manager for Jamaica National Small Business Loans. In 2015, Mrs. Gillian Hyde was appointed General Manager of JN Small Business Loans Limited, a company which prides itself in providing access to credit for the MSME sector, thereby enhancing the sector's growth and development. Mrs. Hyde joined the Jamaica National family in 2003 and has served at the Building Society in several areas, finance and accounting, as well as corporate and strategic planning, where she spent a number of years and was integral in charting the path of achievement of significant milestones throughout the society. She later assumed the role as member ombudsman and executive in charge of customer service, with responsibility for delivering a great customer service experience through all channels. Mrs. Hides holds a Master of Science in Management Information Systems and Bachelor of Science in Management Studies and Psychology from the University of the West Indies. She has also participated in key development programs, including a certificate course in strategic leadership in inclusive finance and Harvard Business School. And of course, the Jane Small Business Loans, it is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Jamaica National Group. My third panelist, which I'll invite to join me, who is seated in the audience, is Ms. Lisa Bell, Managing Director of Exim Bank. Ms. Lisa Bell is qualified and proven professional with over 20 years of experience in providing financial, analytical, and managerial expertise in both the private and public sector. Having held key management positions in the Jamaican financial services sector and with Jamaica National Investment and Export Promotion Agency, at the time JTI, now as Managing Director of the National Export-Import Bank of Jamaica, which we call Exim Bank, she brings to bear a unique combination of technical skills needed to provide expertise at the macro and micro level in areas relating to the business environment and improvement. With sound interpersonal and communication skills and positive public and professional image, Mrs. Bell has been successful in developing, maintaining, and leveraging strategic private and public sector stakeholder public sector relationships. Exim Bank is that bank which has become the first export-import bank in the English-speaking Caribbean since May 1986. And of course, our third panelist, I don't see Teresa, fourth panelist, I don't see Teresa. Okay, Mrs. Teresa Turner Jones, Inter-American Development Bank, IDB. She's the country representative and general manager for the Caribbean Country Group. A national of the Bahamas, Ms. Teresa Turner Jones is the general manager of the Country Department Caribbean Group, which oversees the bank's operation in Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, Suriname, the Bahamas, and Trinidad and Tobago. While serving in this position, she continues to carry out the functions as the country representative for Jamaica. Mrs. Turner Jones joined the IDB in 2013 as the country representative to Jamaica. She has over 20 years of experience in the areas of macroeconomics and economic development. She has held many key positions in the International Monetary Fund and most recently, the Deputy Divisional Chief for the Caribbean. Mr. Reese Turner Jones is an economist who graduated from the University of Toronto and holds a master's degree in economics from the University of East Anglia, United Kingdom. She is a United World Colleges graduate from the Leicester Pearson College. And with respect to IDB, that's the bank that works to improve lives in Latin America and the Caribbean through financial and technical support. So here we have it, ladies and gentlemen, four distinguished members of our panel. I'd like you to start by giving them a hand for what they are about to tell us. Now, each of our panelists will speak for 10 minutes. You don't have to use all 10 minutes, but you have 10 minutes. And after which, we'll open for question and answer. Edison, I'd love to start with you. Go ahead.
And good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd love to commend the Tourism Linkages Network and the Ministry of Tourism for hosting this very, very important and critical conference, seeking to help Jamaica tap this massive global industry, one in which we have tremendous advantages and we really just need to be in a position to exploit them. Now, the whole issue of financing to unlock capital returns in this industry, financing and enhancing capital returns in this industry is something that is very critical to our role here at the DBJ. Our mandate is to support economic growth, job creation, social inclusion, financial inclusion, a whole lot of things. And we do that in a number of ways. Critically, we seek to bridge the gap between businesses and financing. And there are a number of ways in which we do that. We make financing available through over 30 lending partners, which includes commercial banks, credit unions, microfinance companies, as well as other financial institutions. We also provide capacity building, support, training for entrepreneurs and small and micro businesses. And we do that essentially through a network of over 30 business support providers. We call them BDOs. So in addition to that, we're charged with developing Jamaica's venture capital environment, which then allows persons to move into a different phase of their development. So it's within that context that I really want to just highlight, and as we enter National Entrepreneurship Week as well, just to highlight the kind of support that DBJ is providing to the health and wellness sector, and broadly to the various different pieces of that sector. Over the last day or so, we'd have heard about all of the different components that make up that sector, whether it's mental health, whether it's music, whether it's bed and sea and sand, whether it's nutraceuticals, etc. It's a very broad sector, and DBJ's support is available to every single part of that industry. Now, just to highlight some of the things that we do, I mentioned capacity. Persons in the sector can access grant financing to help for business support, whether it's things like accounting, getting your accounts ready, whether it's patents, whether it's shelf life studies for your products, whether it's business or marketing plans. We have a website, dbjvoucher.com, which spells out all of those services that are available, over 30 services. And what we do, we provide grants of whether it's 50, 100, 200, up to 300,000 to support those services. So if any business needs those services, you can go on that website, dbjvoucher.com, and access any one of those 30 services to build up the capacity of your business. Why we do that? It's not just to provide grants, it's really to help the businesses, but also to create an ecosystem where you have a list of a whole range of service providers who are there to help businesses along the way, right? The second thing I want to highlight is we also provide grants. So we start as early as the National Business Model Competition, where we have a lot of young entrepreneurs who are coming up with innovative products. Things, whether it's in technology, whether it's in music archiving, whether it's in spa treatments, whether it's in all of those products are coming out of our universities, and the DBJ has been there to support that competition. And we've had a lot of very successful enterprises that have come out of that. So along that theme of building out the capital returns, we start from the student stage at university and take them all the way through the entrepreneurship cycle. Just to also highlight, again on the theme of building and developing those capital returns, DBJ provides grant financing in the form of seed capital as well. So you may be familiar with, for instance, our Ignite Fund, where for innovative products, whether it's, as I said, whether it's a technology solution for bookings, whether it's in music, whether it's in the creative arts, whether it's in bed and breakfast, you name it, they are able to access grants of up to $4 million currently. So we've done over 50 of those grants to the tune of $140 million for enterprises across Jamaica that provide various services and are growing. That product is going to grow over the next couple of years under a project that we have funded with IDB actually, called Biggie. where there are a range of development services available for entrepreneurs and allowing businesses to scale. Right now, we have a grant open called our Innovation Grant, where medium-sized firms can access grants of up to $14 million. So if you check our website again, everything we're doing right now is online. Think BIGEE.com. You can find the application processes there. Moving into something like our loan programs, we provide loans through, as I said, over 26 what we call approved financial institutions, commercial banks, credit unions, finance houses, other lending agencies. In addition to that, we have 11 microfinance companies, including JN Small Business, who is on the panel as well, and Exim Bank as well is one of our partners. And each year we provide through those channels over 14,000 loans, whether it's for craft traders, craft vendors, you name it, all the way up to large hotels and companies. So we do the entire cycle. We provide funding for medical services, radiology, for cancer care, for skin care, dentists, everything. So we're part of the health, we're part of the wellness, we're part of the tourism, we're part of the linkages into tourism, including agriculture. We provide funding for that. So probably $8 billion a year is what we do in that regard. Critically, we've also found that entrepreneurs very often, small and medium, don't have the collateral to support their loans. So over the last couple of years, we've built out what we call a credit enhancement facility. So the funding is there available to enterprises. If you don't have the collateral, you're able to access a guarantee of up to 30 million Jamaican dollars to support your loan. The cap on that guarantee is 80% of the loan amount, and it's available currently through 13 of our financial institutions. We also have a guarantee that goes up to 90% of the loan amount. So if a small enterprise is seeking a loan of, let's say, $11 million, they can get a guarantee of 90% of that loan amount. Startups are not left out because we understand the importance of the entrepreneurial life cycle. So startups are able to get guarantees of up to $5 million. That's under our credit enhancement facility. And again, I refer you to our website, dbjcef.com, where you can get all that information. The last area I want to highlight is our venture capital and private equity support. So I spoke about the seed funding that's available from our innovation grants. But critically also, the DBJ has been working over the last couple of years, again with IDB support, to build out the Jamaica's venture capital and private equity ecosystem. So we worked with the lawyers, accountants, the fund managers to provide training and support. But critically, we've been able to provide funding to 5 funds to date. And those funds have invested over $60 million in over 22 firms in Jamaica. So I just highlight that because we're looking at scaling and looking at expanding and getting the capital returns. So there are so many options available for financing, whether it's grants for capacity building, whether it's seed funding, whether it's loan financing backed by guarantees, or whether it's equity financing. We've seen a very vibrant stock exchange over the last couple of years. So there's the opportunity for businesses having availed themselves of these services to be able to expand on the stock exchanges or through strategic partners. And then I guess under our venture capital, again, we're working with the angel investors who provide some kind of intermediate financing. So and again, as I say, whether it's agriculture, whether it's craft, whether it's hotels, whether it's small hotels, restaurants, medical services, we do provide financing across the board to support those industries. So I think, Carlin, that's where I'd want to leave my 10 minutes for now until further if there are any questions or discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll go to Mrs. Gillian Hyde. Gillian?
Thank you, Helen. Good afternoon, to my colleagues on the panel, and good afternoon to the rest of the audience and participants in this year's conference. On behalf of Jamaica National, we really do thank you for the invitation to participate and to congratulate you on this event and this year's staging of the conference. And I think under the theme, Imagine, Reset and Restore, it's so applicable at this time. I think COVID-19 has really presented a huge opportunity for us to reimagine what our tourism product, the potential of our tourism product, how that can be reshaped and reset so that we really can come out on top at the end of this, to come out better than we came in before. And so it's really, really an awesome opportunity. And I am happy to be able to participate on behalf of the Jamaica National Group in these ongoing discussions. Tourism has been a part of our contributions and our support and our commitment over the years, and it's certainly something that we look forward to remaining a central part as Jamaica figures out how it is that we truly, truly reimagine and reset and restore. I think as we look on the statistics, I think Carolyn mentioned the size of the tourism industry, but the wellness industry is just about $4.5 trillion US dollars. That's the size of the wellness industry, and that's the potential for Jamaica. That is the potential. Right now, the wellness tourism is about 700 million out of that 4.5. But I can imagine a Jamaica fully in the midst of that, how much more we can capitalize and really position ourselves. So I think tourism, wellness tourism really presents a huge opportunity for Jamaica to continue to diversify its current tourism product, to build some resilience and really maximize on the linkages and the collaborations that exist within the sector. And when we think about wellness, we must remember that we are referring to the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. And so as we think about the realm of wellness, we can just look at the magnitude of the opportunities that exist from our spas, which there are many, because I think our hotel chains and the private spas have really invested a lot of that. Culture, music, dance, entertainment, our natural baths and springs, our healthy foods, our holistic treatments, our nutraceuticals and our herbaceuticals, and fitness on a whole is another area that is a growing segment within Jamaica. And if we think as far as our religious engagement, that's another opportunity to contribute to the spiritual wellness. And something that Jamaica is known for in terms of the number of churches that we have per square foot. So there is something that's very unique about just about every sector of Jamaica. So I would say that Brand Jamaica is well poised to really capitalize on health and wellness tourism. And we already have a strong tourism product. We have the best people. We have tasty food that people, it's a part of why they journey here, or entertainment. We have appealing cultural assets. And so Jamaica, I think, is well poised. Now, how does JN Small Business Loans and the Jamaica National Family fit into that? As mentioned before, through this small business company within the group, we've really committed over the last 2 decades to really helping micro and small entrepreneurs to access financial solutions that help them to invest. Partnerships such as with the TF, we've been able to provide special financing facilities for persons connected to tourism. And many of us today still think of just accommodation facilities as tourism. What we want to do now is widen that and really cater to those that are in the linkages. And there are so many when you talk about health and wellness. And so of course we already have ready packages that are here and available. We offer a 5 by 5 by 5 product to anybody that's connected to the tourism value chain. So anybody earning, I think it's approximately 20% of their revenues by way of the tourism market can access that product. It gives you 5 million for 5 years at 5%. So very, very attractive product, and exit takes over after that the larger segments of the tourism market when it comes on to that specific product. And then we have other suites of product. We also have a BizBoost product, which allows us to utilize the program from the DBJ, which was mentioned earlier by Edison in respect of the credit enhancement facility. So we understand the journey of our entrepreneurs, and that collateral sometimes poses a challenge. We also have access to guarantee programs through USAID that allows us to utilize those on our micro portfolios. Those are the persons that are borrowing smaller amounts. And we do appreciate too that along these huge chains, even when you think about the accommodation, that is hundreds of micro players that are coming together, that are supporting this large chain, that are making it successful. And so we don't only want to cater to the large person at the top, the large investor at the top, but we want to cater to all of our investors that are connected to that value chain. And then, of course, within the wider Jamaica National Group, we have a suite of banking services. So we have other business loan facilities that are available and attractive, other products that are important to helping you to operate your business. So other credit facilities, short-term credit facilities, overdraft facilities, credit card facilities, a whole array that will really assist us in ensuring that we're fully catered for. And then, of course, as companies get large and are ready to list, we have our fund manager in-house that will allow that to take place. And then, we do have technology partners in-house. We have our technology firm as a part of the Jamaica National Group that will assist our companies in digitizing, in really, really becoming a part of this digital world and this digital framework. Again, COVID-19 has forced us to leap, to really pivot, to take a jump and really become a little bit more organized and ready for the digital world. And in terms of risk coverage, helping you to ensure that as you invest, you are protected, your assets are protected. That's something that our insurance companies are ready and able to deliver to you. Our JN General Insurance and our JN Life. And just recently, since COVID-19, we've been investing a lot of time in trying to see how we can help our entities to market themselves, to really make their presence known. So through our creative services, really ensuring that our companies can have a footprint and can sell themselves within the marketplace. So that's another special offering that we'll be building on. We also have been doing internal directories that will allow persons to be able to tap into your services, to find you and to access services from you. Of course, we continue on our collaborations with a JBDC and various capacity building programs to ensure that training is accessible to people. And really trying to continue on our commitment that we're not just financing partners. We are partnering with you and journeying with you as you go along and as you build your services and your products. And so through DBJ2, we continue to access and can make available the technical voucher program so that those business capacity building programs can be accessed by you. So in summary, Jamaica National is really here and ready to partner with everybody that is along that value chain. I think it's time for us really, really but those of us that are currently in the other sectors that have a possible linkage, to really reimagine what does our service look like today and what's the potential for the service, and to look beyond the local spheres.
So thank you, Julian. I'm going to go to the next speaker because we are sure going to have a lot of questions for you, especially with respect to the MSME sector. Lisa, I'm going to invite you to now speak.
Thank you very much, Caroline, and welcome everybody. It's great to be here, and we have a very short time, so I want to try and focus in on what EXIM is doing in respect of supporting the tourism sector and specifically the health and wellness sector. So in the interest of time, I'm going to skip through some of the things my other panelists have said and what we've heard from this morning. Everyone knows what health and wellness is. I think over the last day and a half, we've heard the various different components of health and wellness and how important it is for Jamaica's economy. Then the segmentation the representation on the screen is really just to break it down so we can understand where there are potential opportunities for financing. Medical tourism, and certainly I've pulled out elder care because elder care is going to be increasingly important over the next decade. Leisure, which includes water sports, yoga, massages, those kinds of activities that speak to wellness activities. And then we're talking about accommodations and those things that support the execution of the things above. In terms of financing for the tourism sector, we know tourism continues to be one of the major economic drivers for Jamaica. And to date, only about 7.11% is going to the tourism sector. So it's still a little inadequate, but it does say the statistics tell us that it's been increasing year over year. Of course, we've had an unusual year, and we would expect to see downturns during this year, but I am of the firm opinion that tourism is what is called a V sector. It has gone down, but once the protocols are in place, it's going to bounce right back up. This is just showing the breakdown in terms of what kinds of activities EXIM is financing, what the government of Jamaica is financing. So it really just points to that 7.11 in tourism. Move on. EXIM. So EXIM is the National Export-Import Bank of Jamaica. We provide financing to all productive sectors of the economy. So you ask the question, why would we be interested in tourism? Because tourism is technically, as defined by the WTO, to be an export sector because it earns foreign exchange, one, and of course we're engaged in trade of services. So over the period, EXIM has been working with the Ministry of Tourism very aggressively to support the tourism sector. We have, fueled by the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, our dynamic tourism minister, put in a program for $1 billion to be provided to this sector. Called the SMTE, Small and Medium-Sized Tourism Enterprises. And that was to ensure greater economic support for the linkage sectors which are indigenous to Jamaica and not just the accommodation subsector. Currently, we support the 5 linkage networks. Carolyn will tell you that she's a hard driver in that respect. But I call your attention to the spas. So even a number of years ago, the spa and wellness industry was identified as one of those key areas for which Jamaica had potential. So to that extent, this program has been geared towards supporting that particular activity. The loan program, much like Gillian said before, is a program targeted at SMTEs that provides $25 million for a maximum tenure of 5 years, and I'm going to say that was extended to 7, and I'll come back to that, at a historically low rate of 4.75. There is no other rate in this economy that mirrors that rate, and that is because the importance of the tourism and linkage sectors to the the overall growth of the economy. In last year, we agreed with the ministry that the reflows from the program would be reinvested, increasing the value of the portfolio available to lending to 1.5 billion. So what have we done? To date, we've committed 1.2 billion. Applications are actually being processed for the balance. And the purpose of the loans across all those different subsectors that I spoke about include upgrade of your physical plants. If you need to improve your surroundings in an accommodation or improve your factory for producing a nutraceutical, it would qualify. Purchase of equipment, raw material, general working capital support, and most importantly, trade credit insurance, which provides protection for receivables, which has become increasingly important this year in the context that many of our small businesses are saying that, boy, them have money on the road and they can't collect it. In the event that they cannot collect it, trade credit insurance is what gives them protection. This program is particularly dear to my heart because we were able during this year, in March of this year, in partnership with the TEF to provide COVID relief. As the tourism sector was one of the hardest hit sectors in the economy, and as such, we were seeing a number of our entities facing increased hardship, maybe, and in many cases, some closed. So we were able to, for our loan portfolio, to extend moratorium on payments up to 9 months, which is still in effect, and to provide restructuring of those 5-year loans to a 7-year. So we really were able to provide some economic relief because the goal is to keep these entities viable such that when the turnaround comes, that they're able to rebound and even grow even further. So, as I said before, most of our facilities are for SMTEs, and they're provided for both short-term and medium-term facilities. Short-term meaning less than a year for working capital, medium-term for capital improvements. But the one factor I wanted to point out, go ahead, is that spa and wellness still only makes up a small percentage of the programs that we finance under this broader program, making up about 4% in spa, and then we'd probably add medical for another 1%. So there's huge untapped potential for the use of these funds to support. So I'm saying to the participants who are listening, either in the room or online, there is money available to help you to build the capacity of your entity, and now is the time so to do. Lastly, and I'm wrapping up because I see my time is up, is just to highlight the areas that we believe are going to be important going forward as we get ready for tourism to rebound. Clearly, other speakers have spoke about Jamaica's natural competitive advantage in this area, but truly the COVID pandemic has created an opportunity for us to capitalize on the development of this sector. Because this sector is dominated by SMEs, it also becomes important that we focus the resources to SME lending. So we're going to be looking at further upgrading of spas, new and existing private medical centers. I will tell you, I have a client who operates in Montego Bay providing dialysis treatment for tourists who arrive here. We are looking at new and existing wellness centers, whatever it may be. Wellness events, things like marathons and health conferences and fairs and bike tours, looking at those kind of innovations. Further development to upgrade key national assets like the Rock Fort and Milk River Bath, etc. And most importantly, this one that excites me, the production and export of new pharmaceuticals, whether that be moringa or teas, whatever it may be. I think there's a unique opportunity for export. I will close by telling you a quick story about a producer of castor oil in Clarendon. Castor oil is a key ingredient as a nutraceutical in wellness. We're taking her to market to Amazon. That's where the new frontier is. Crisis creates opportunity, and we want to be there to support growth into the next paradigm. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. So we have heard from our internal banks, we have heard from DBJ, we have heard from JN, we have heard from Exim. Now let's take it across borders. Let's hear from Therese Turner from IDB. Let's hear what is the contribution from the banking sector across borders to our health and wellness industry. Over to you, Therese.
Thank you so much. I think a lot has already been said about financing, and I'm glad we started with Edison because most of IDB's financing to small and medium enterprises in Jamaica in the tourism sector would come through the DBJ. So I think he's covered a lot of that. Just to give a quick, I'm going to talk about a couple of things, and I like where Lisa ended her presentation because when I think back to the JAMPRO's iconic piece on health and wellness tourism in Jamaica, which was done in 2015, which was supposed to be the roadmap for this sector. Fast forward 2020, and why I think this conversation is very ambitious today is because what the industry itself is facing. So I think we have to be, I want to just put it in context because globally, travel and tourism has been, and we all know this, but I think it's good to quantify it. Tourism has been the industry that has been most impacted by COVID. Of course, everybody in this room, and I'm really jealous of those of you actually there in person for this event, and the rest of us are here working in this very strange way of a virtual conference. But I think the fact that there's a $2 trillion loss as a result of COVID from global tourism coming to what has essentially been a standstill, and we know that by our own numbers in Jamaica, there has been almost 100% fall off in tourism, foreign tourism arrivals in Jamaica since the beginning of this pandemic. The hotels are only now starting to recover with 20% occupancy. And I think that V-shaped recovery, which may possibly be on the horizon in 2021, is still a little bit far off, Lisa. We're not there yet for a whole host of reasons. And the main one being that the vaccine, which has been announced this week as possibly coming on stream by the end of this year, it's still a very complicated way to get that vaccine delivered to all the visitors who may want to come and travel around the world to make it safe. Also, the fact that the vaccine to be deployed in our region, for example, around the Caribbean and the Jamaican specifically, that could take some time. So I think we don't want to spend a lot of time thinking that recovery is in the first quarter of 21 or even in the last quarter of 21, because even industry specialists and the Jamaica Hotel Association and the Caribbean Hotel Tourism Association around this region are not really predicting a full recovery until 3 years out. And I think that's optimistic. So let's just focus on that then. If that's the time frame for the recovery, what can we be doing now to get ready for when it happens? And here is where I think the boldness of this particular conference is important, because this is the time to be thinking, and the title of this conference is Reimagining and Repositioning Tourism and Positioning Health and Wellness as part of the recovery. This is the time to really think through what Jamaica has to offer to its visitors in the future. I don't think that this pandemic is a single event. I think this is a harbinger of future pandemics. And so the whole industry is going to have to shift its thinking around how we do that properly. And here we have an opportunity through the health and wellness segment of tourism to think through what can Jamaica do to make it even safe in this current environment for visitors to come. And we know that there's been a lot of work on the Brazilian corridor, and we know that we haven't had any cases of visitors coming down with COVID or any COVID-related cases coming from hotels. So that's a plus, and I think Jamaica will come out looking really good as a model for how it's handled this pandemic. when things open up again, because I think it speaks to not just the management of the process, but how Jamaicans have responded, the discipline that it took, and the way that the health authorities have really controlled the situation. So I think that is the backdrop to thinking about future financing for this sector. Many of you would know that the IDB is Jamaica's largest multilateral partner. What do I mean by that? We've been around here for over 50 years. In December of last year, we celebrated our 50th anniversary with the government of Jamaica. And we work on several different planes. First, we work with the public sector, mainly through governments, to finance whether it's investment and infrastructure projects or whether it's policy reforms. We work with the private sector, big hotels, medium-sized hotels, medium-sized enterprises, to make sure the private sector gets financing to do what we called projects that are going to have development impact. So it's not just, financing a hotel because they have a need to build an extra 100 rooms. But when they come to us and say, we'd like to build 100 extra rooms, we're going to ask, okay, are you employing local people? Are you going to use local inputs in terms of not just labor, but how you decorate the hotel? What is going to be the impact on the Jamaican economy as a result of this investment that we're going to make in the private sector? I think that's the difference between us and a commercial bank. And this is why we partner with agencies like the Development Bank of Jamaica, because DBJ knows what the development needs of the country is. We also partner with agencies like JN. We have been working with JN on a number of different projects to deal with climate change and how to get Jamaicans to think about using different kinds of water harvesting or water saving tools in their homes. So I think there are many ways in which we've had impact in this particular economy. We also have IDB Lab, which is what we call our innovation lab. And here IDB Lab has partnered with the UN. We launched earlier this year in the middle of the pandemic a challenge to get countries in this region to think about how can we reimagine tourism? What is tourism in the region going to look like? And that challenge is still going on. The winners are going to be announced soon. But I think it's not going to be business as usual. And I'm hoping that everybody who's in the room, participating in this conference, really walk away with that sense that we have to think differently. We did, since September, we launched something called a moonshot challenge for people across the region to come up with their best, out-of-the-box thinking, the most wildest ideas about how to reimagine tourism, how to use electric mobility, and how to, what was the other idea was around digital transformation. And I can tell you, some of the ideas we got around tourism are mind-blowing, right? So think about a drone that has pods where people can hop from Antigua to Barbados to Jamaica in one visit. So this is our thinking around how we change what we have to offer with tourism also has to be around the most fantastical ideas that we will try to put in effect for the future, because it can't be business as usual. Digital transformation has to be a large piece of that. For example, right now, if you have a spa operating in Jamaica and you have absolutely no visitors, what's stopping you from creating some virtual reality sensation that people can experience through those AR glasses to have that spa experience, just to stay in touch with your client, so that when this pandemic is over, you still have a client base to go back to. How many of our spas and our resorts are actually staying in touch with their clients right now? That's the kind of way you have to reimagine your business, because not only is this the worst possible crisis we've encountered in 100 years, but it's also the opportunity, also the moment, as Lisa, as Gillian and as Edison mentioned, this is the moment to think through what can we do differently, because we have to differentiate Jamaica from Costa Rica, from the Bahamas, from Barbados, from anywhere else that is a source of competition for the sector.
Thank you, Tariq.
I want to leave it on a positive note, which is let's just put our collective minds together about collaborating at this time, because this is a fairly serious set of circumstances that the world is experiencing, and Jamaica being no exception, and so we need all hands on deck. Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you. I think that those are 4 wonderful presentations. What was clear is that we're not short on money. Everybody has money to lend, so there's no hitch there. Some persons have grants, so there's no hitch there. We even got some wonderful ideas, so there's no hitch there. So what is it that is stopping us from tapping into that billion-dollar industry? It can only be us, because the financing is in place. And it is clear, as Terry said, it's not business as usual. Come up with those mind-boggling ideas. And I'll start by taking questions. I know we have virtual questions, so I'll go over to Renee before I go to the room. Renee, go ahead.
Right, thank you, Mrs. Riley. I have 2 questions for Mrs. Bell from the Exim Bank. The first question was, where can business owners access more information about the SMTE loan that you mentioned, and can they still apply?
Oh, absolutely. eximbankjamaica.com. Our website will tell you the specifics on the program, and it is still available. We don't have a lot of money left, I would say about 300 million. We have applications that are being processed. Assume that not all will be successful, but I would encourage people to come out and apply. I didn't mention also that we just completed a tourism grant program. That was another $1.2 billion that was earmarked for economic relief. We saw some wellness retreats getting in, but it was undersubscribed. So I'm hoping that we will be able to open it out again to provide some more support to those entities.
So the spa owners, especially who are online, can then reach out to the bank to get more information?
Right. They won't be eligible for the grant program because it's currently closed, but definitely the loan program.
Okay. And the next question was, as a self-employed spa owner, are there programs or loan officers to assist me to get ready to access this loan? Does your bank offer some?
We really don't do a lot of individual assistance, technical assistance, but I'm sure DBJ under their voucher assist program would be ideal to help to build the capacity, as well as to probably provide some assistance in writing a business plan that can ultimately be financed.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I'm not sure if the panelist from DBJ just wants to expound on how this person. Go ahead.
Sure, thank you for that question. So as it relates to the capacity building and the support for the spa owner, as I said, all you'd really need to do is go onto our website, dbjvoucher.com. We provide grant financing for business support services, a whole range of services. So as Lisa said, if you want to get a business plan done, if you want to get a marketing plan done, if you want to get accounting records up to date, shelf life studies if you have products for your spa, etc. All of those are available, including digitization. Since COVID, we've included digitization for persons to get online, to take their businesses online. So grants are there available for up to about 300,000. We cover 70% of the cost of the service, so you have to come up with the 30%. But those grants are available, and you just go on the website, dbjvoucher.com, and that technical assistance is available through that site. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Do we have any questions from the audience? I know my time is up. Thank you, Nicolette. I'm wrapping up. Well, panelists, it has been a wonderful afternoon. I am so happy to hear money is not the problem. So it means it is for us to find those solutions to spend some of the money that you all have. Jamaica is poised to move into the direction that we are being led to go into, which is the whole making sure that our health and wellness property are in tip-top shape. And if we are going in direction and we don't have a challenge of financing, it means there's no obstacle for us being the best destination in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. You have been great hosts. I now hand back the podium to our Master of Ceremony, Mr. Michael Anthony Cuff.